something strange is happening across India's hospitals. Open any newspaper and you will see that headlines are celebrating record profits in healthcare. That's great news, right? Our hospitals are doing better than ever. But then scroll through social media or talk to your friends and you'll see a completely different story. Patients are complaining that they couldn't get beds. People are driving hundreds of kilometers because their local hospital doesn't do a particular procedure. But what's actually happening? Is India's healthcare sector in crisis? Well, if you're on the hospital side of things are going well for you. For example, Max Healthcare now makes over 77,000 rupees per bed per day. Let that number sink in. 77,000 rupees just from a single bed in a single day. So, if hospitals are making more money than ever, why does healthcare feel like it's less accessible? Where is all the money coming from? And where is it actually going? If you've been wondering the same, stick with us because that's exactly what we're going to break down in this episode of FinShots TV. FinShots TV is now a part of Zerodha's 01 network. Together, we plan on bringing you stories that impact your day-to-day lives, sometimes without you even realizing it. So do consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with your friends. Alright, let's take it from the top. To understand what's happening, we have to first talk about a metric that most people have never heard of. It's called ARPOB. It actually stands for Average Revenue Per Occupied Bed. Think of it this way. A hospital is basically a hotel for sick people. And like hotels, they track revenue per room. And like hotels track revenue per room, hospitals actually track revenue per bed. Like we were discussing, Max Healthcare generates over 77,000 rupees per bed in a single day. Your regional hospital probably makes around 20 to 30k rupees per day. So what's actually different? Both of them are hospitals, right? Why is one able to make so much more from a single bed than the other? Well, it's actually about something very complex. Hey guys, if you like our work at FinShots, do consider checking out Ditto. Ditto is our sister company and they are trying to make insurance simpler for people like you and me. If you're thinking of reviewing your insurance needs, why don't you book a free call with Ditto Insurance's IRDAI certified advisors? The link is in the description. Say for example, a dengue patient might generate 15,000 rupees per day for a hospital, but a cardiac surgery patient, 1.5 lakh rupees just in a single day. Same bed, but 10 times more revenue. And Max Healthcare's spokesperson actually explained this openly. He said, and I'm trying to quote, that growth can be attributed to a significant change in the clinical mix. Remember this word, clinical mix. We're going to come back to it again. The hospital is attracting more patients for tertiary and quarterly procedures. This is high-end surgeries, robotic surgeries, cardiac surgeries, etc. These are not people who need primary or secondary care like a first aid or a dengue procedure or general physicians. These people need complex surgeries. Now, if you're wondering who actually owns these hospitals who are so focused on increasing ARPOB, well, it's not the doctors, it's not the healthcare companies, it's private equity firms. Blackstone, an American private equity giant, owns 73% of CARE hospitals and 80% of KIMS Kerala. Singapore's Temasek now owns 59% of Manipal hospitals. Artwood Partners and Ontario Teachers Pension Plan have full ownership of Sterling Hospital and Sahyadri Hospital. You heard that right. Some of India's largest hospital chains are majorly owned by foreign investors. A whole list of their names and the hospitals that they own are on your screen right now. But if you're wondering, why are foreign private equity firms even interested in Indian healthcare? Well, the answer is simple. Returns. Let me explain. You buy a hospital that's making 10 crores in profits for 150 crore rupees. That's 15 times of its profit. You increase the ARPOB aggressively for the next 3 to 4 years. Profits go up to 15 crore rupees. You sell it or list it in the stock markets. This time it's at 30 times profit. That's 450 crores. You have tripled your money. And this isn't theoretical. KKR actually bought into Max Healthcare and exited at 5x returns, 5 times the money they had invested. But how do they actually increase ARPOB so fast? Well, there are 3 ways. The first is they change the clinical mix. Remember, I told you to remember this term? The thing is, if you notice that procedures like transplants, robotic surgeries have seen a growth in volume in healthcare sector in India's largest hospitals. This is resulting in a higher ARPOB, more expensive procedures, fewer simpler ones. Second is that they optimize bed allocation. That dengue patient we were talking about initially, sorry, no beds for them. That cardiac surgery patient though, well, they are welcome to get a bed in the hospital. Third, and this is the most controversial part, they change how doctors work. Now, hospitals claim that they pay only salary and no commission to doctors. But in the same breath, they also admit that they also pay a partly variable fee based on performance to doctors. And no, this performance is not linked to how many patients they're actually treating. This is based on the revenue they're churning for the hospital. The current rate of commission between doctors for referrals is around 40 to 60%. If a patient pays 1,000 rupees after being referred from one doctor to the other, the first doctor actually gets 400 to 600 rupees. A very popular hospital was caught offering 2.5 lakh rupees for referring 75 admissions in a single year. They called it an elite forum for doctors. The medical council called it corruption. Now, you might think, okay, so hospitals are becoming more and more commercial. But maybe they're also becoming more efficient, right? They're getting better equipment, better doctors. This is all going to benefit the public like us, right? Well, here's the problem with this argument. Over 40% of PE investments since 2019 have gone to single specialty hospitals. These hospitals need 30 to 40 crores in investments for just 40 to 50 beds. They only do high margin procedures, IVF, oncology, cardiac surgery, robotic surgery, etc. And what they don't do is general medicine, pediatrics, mental health, emergency medicine. Basically, anything that doesn't generate 50,000 plus ARPOB is something they'll not be touching. And it's not just about what procedures they're doing, it's also about who they're actually treating. Private equity can elevate the profits of a hospital through price hikes and prioritizing high margin services. But this burdens the middle class families because they don't get the services which are required to them. And the thing is, PE firms don't stay invested in forever. They look for a 5 to 7 year horizon. After that, they exit. We are now in the 3 to 4 years since the PE firms have started investing in Indian hospitals. The sector has attracted over $5 billion in just 2024. Even in 2023, the sector had attracted around $6 billion. And in the next 5 to 6 years, we can expect these PE firms wanting to exit with their money. Well, when a PE firm exits, they sell to whoever is willing to pay the highest price. Usually, another PE firm that needs even higher returns to justify the price that they've paid, or a listing in the public markets. Each time a hospital is sold, the pressure to increase the ARPOB grows. The clinical mix shifts further towards expensive procedures. More basic services start disappearing. And we already know how this story plays out because it has already happened in the USA. The US healthcare sector, initially praised for PE-driven consolidation, faced a serious problem. Unsustainable debt, lower quality of care, limited access to rural areas, and rising costs. Take the example for a US hospital. Hahnemann University Hospital, which was based out of Philadelphia for 171 years, closed after its PE ownership stint. Manor Care, once America's largest nursing home chain, collapsed under PE debt. The same firms, Blackstone, KKR, Apollo, that were involved in those hospital chains are now investing in India's biggest hospitals. And that's not just the only angle. There's another layer to this story. 60% of hospital beds are concentrated in metro cities, while 70% of India's population is living in non-metro regions. So while PE firms are optimizing urban hospitals for ARPOB, rural India remains underserved. The gap isn't closing, it's actually widening. Because rural hospitals don't generate high ARPOB, they are not attractive enough for PE investments. Here's another layer to the story. Government hospitals pay around 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees per month for hospitals. At PE-owned hospitals, they pay 3 to 4 times more for doctors. Where do you think talent actually goes? When a PE-owned hospital is making so much more, they'd also want to give some to their doctors. This is something that the government sector actually can't do because they are trying to subsidize healthcare for people. Well, all in all, it seems like India's healthcare sector is moving towards a place where you're not a patient, you're just an ARPOB number. If your number isn't high enough, well, there is no service available for you. The tragedy is that this transformation is probably irreversible. Once a hospital is optimized for ARPOB, it can't go back. The infrastructure, the doctors, the entire system is built around high-margin procedures. Even if the government steps in, what could they possibly do? Can they force PE firms to sell? But to whom? Who is going to buy a hospital at such high valuations? The hospitals are already leveraged and doctors are already incentivized. The system has already changed. Well, what is your take on this? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to FinShots TV for more.